Hello, my name is Carol Davies. I am the co-chairman of the Voter Services Committee with the League of Women Voters of Greater Rockford. And today what I would like to do is to talk to you a little bit about our upcoming election. I'm sure that you have been bombarded with information and you might be feeling a little bit confused or maybe even a little bit worried. We hear often that we're living in a polarized society. We hear that this is one of the most important elections in a century. We get conflicting information from the various sides. And so if you're feeling confused, you are in really good company. But the best antidote for confusion is to get some accurate and specific information. So today, what I'm going to try and do is just to give you the facts and some of the specifics about planning to vote in the upcoming election. So the first thing I want to point out is that on the screen next to me, there are some voting resources. Those voting resources are reliable, they're accurate, and they are nonpartisan. So you can get the straight up facts at those voting resources. The best resource for any information that you need about particulars of voting is from your voting authority. If you live in the city of Rockford, that will be the Board of Education, or Board of Election, sorry, and it's on the screen next to me. You have an address, and then you have their website, and it is voterockford.com. If you go to the website, you will get information about registering to vote, about places to vote. It will give you information about the specific times and dates of early voting. And it will also give you some information about mail-in ballots, and you can apply for a mail-in ballot on that site. If you don't live in the city, but you live in the county, your voting authority is the Winnebago County Clerk. The information about the county clerk's office is on the side of the screen. Again, they also have a website that you can access that will give you important information. And the same goes for Boone County. We have the address, we have their contact information, and if you live in Boone County, access that information. If you happen to live in a county where the information is not on the screen, just see if you can find the information where your county clerk is, and they will have the information that applies to you. Okay, so that's the best information. Now, the League of Women Voters encourages you as citizen voters to try and inform yourself prior to the election about the candidates and the issues. And so the other two pieces of information here, the other resources, are places where you can go to get information about candidate forums. The League of Women Voters will be sponsoring some candidate forums, and you can get the information for the times for those candidate forums. And they're going to be e-forums, so you will have to find out how to get that digital information and use that digital information. The last resource on the list is the League of Women Voters of Greater Rockford's website. And there is a feature, if you go into the Voter Services section, where you can ask questions and then you will get an answer to your specific question about voting. All right, now some details about voting, pertinent facts. Many of these I'm sure you know, but it doesn't hurt to go through them. If you want to vote in the upcoming election, you must be registered. If you want to register, there's still time. You can register in person up until October 6th. After that, the in-person registration ceases. You can still register online, and you can register online at those resources. They will contact you or connect you to an online place where you can register. You register online only until October 18th, and then online registration ends, but you can still register. There is an option called grace period registration, where you go to your voting authority, you go in and you register at your Board of Election or your county clerk's office. You will need to provide two pieces of information, one with your current address, and you have to have lived at that address for 30 days. and both pieces of information must have your current name. You go into the Board of Elections or the county clerk's office with those IDs. They can sign you up to vote, register you on the spot. The only thing you have to do is you have to vote on the same day that you register. So you register and you vote on exactly the same day, and you don't vote at your polling place on election day. Now, one of the most confusing things that we're facing with this election is vote by mail. There's a statistic that says 83% of the American population has the ability to vote by mail in this election. Because of that, and because of this looming threat of the pandemic, many, many people have decided that this is the best course of action for them. If you live in Illinois and you voted in the last 2 years, you automatically got an application for a vote by mail ballot. So there will be a lot of people who will be wanting to vote by mail because they don't want to take the chance of health risks, and they don't want to worry about any disruptions to the voting process that might occur on the actual election day. And we're hearing about the volume of mail. There's assurances that tell us that the mail is going to go through, that the election authorities are prepared to handle the volume. But it might be a good idea to plan wisely and to return your vote by mail ballot in plenty of time. It must be postmarked by November 3rd. And if you're going to drop it off at your Board of Election or county clerk's office, must be dropped off by 7 o'clock on November 3rd. Before that is fine, but it can't be any later than November 3rd. So you have to be sure that you get it in time. If there's a problem with the mail-in ballots, you can what's called cure your ballot if it's in time and the election authority calls you and says, there's an issue with your ballot, we're questioning your identity, or you forgot to sign the certification, and you will have time then to go and rectify any problem that's with your ballot. So vote by mail, it doesn't affect one party more than the other, because anybody in the state of Illinois can vote by mail. If you are a Republican or you are a Democrat or you're an independent, you can choose to vote by mail. So it doesn't advantage any particular political party. The volume might be heavy, so it is wise to get your ballot early, vote, and then be sure you return it either in mail by November 3rd or drop it off at your election authority. Winnebago County and the City Board of Elections have drop boxes, which allow you to take your ballot directly to the office, drop it in a secure lock box outside of the office, and it will get there on the day that you want it to get there. You don't have to worry about mail. Another option, of course, is that you can vote in person. So voting in person is November 3rd. The polls open at 6 o'clock in the morning and they close at 7 o'clock p.m. If you go to your election authority, you can find your polling place, which is a good option. There's also early voting. Early voting goes on at your election authority, and both Winnebago County and the City of Rockford will have off-site polling places. Those polling places will open in October, and the Board of Election will begin with early voting. It's already begun. It started September 24th. You can go to your Board of Elections and vote early. So there are many options. The best course of action for voters is to look at all your options, pick the one that's best for you, and then act on your plan and be sure that you vote. Finally, the League of Women Voters wants to encourage you to find out information about the candidates. So they're sponsoring forums, and you may be able to tap into those forums, which I mentioned before, will be online forums, and candidates will be asked questions and debate, and you'll get a chance to hear their answers. There are other websites where you can get information, and that one that I mentioned earlier on the screen, that's Illinois Voter Guide, If you go to the IllinoisVoterGuide.org, you can find information about any race in the entire state of Illinois, and you can also find out information about your particular races. So the final thing I really want to say is that we have to be patient this election. I know there are a lot of people who like to get the results by midnight or early in the early morning. And this year it looks like the results are going to take a little longer to come in. So we have to be patient as the mail-in ballots are getting counted and tallied. We have to be patient, and we have to just wait for the election to be certified. And finally, I think what I want to encourage you is to be sure that you get the information that you need in order to be an informed voter. And please be sure that this November, this voting cycle, that you vote. Thank you very much.